Hello and welcome to PPM6 TV. Today we're going to have a look at the Marantz PMD 706 6-track location SD recorder. This has only just recently been released and certainly in Britain at under £300 it's a very affordable bit of kit. And yes, it does have 6 mic inputs and it records every one of them. Let's take a look at the physical layout first. On this side of the mixer, the recorder, we've got 2 combi XLR jacks for mic and line inputs, and those are separate. And on this side, we've got inputs 3 and 4. So where, you might ask, are inputs 5 and 6? Well, if you go back to this side of the device, you can see that there are 2 full-size jack sockets, and I suppose it's just real estate space requiring jacks rather than XLRs, but they are full mic inputs and they will provide phantom power. So beware if you've got a 1/4-inch jack on your headphones that you don't plug it in there. No, you need a 3.5mm jack on your headphones and they need to be plugged in here. Round on the front panel, you can see the display is not very large because I mean the whole thing is, you know, very lightweight. It's a polycarbonate construction. It's not a heavy duty piece of location equipment, if you like, but it seems perfectly sturdy. And the screen is actually, although it's black and white and quite small, the definition is not bad at all, and I think it's perfectly usable. You can also see on the limited space on the front panel, there's a full volume input control for each of the 6 tracks. So yes, indeed, tracks 5 and 6 also have full-sized controls, and these are what you might call trim controls. So they're adjusting the gain going straight into the record track. You can record a mix, so you can use this as a mixer, but you'll need to mix on the menu system, setting the levels on the menu system rather than on the encoders. And if you do record a mix, you will have to sacrifice 2 of your tracks in order to do so. This is not an 8-channel recorder, you know, where you get an extra 2 tracks to record your mix. That's not the gig. The gig is that you can record a full 6 tracks or you can record 4 tracks and your mix. There's a comprehensive set of options actually. There's M&S and stereo and all sorts of linking options inside. There's also, rather strangely, the ability to encrypt your audio files, I think with a 4-digit encryption code. I would never be brave enough to do that because I'd never remember what the code is. But there you are, if that's your thing. If you're recording things in high secrecy, then this may be the bit of kit for you. Having said that, it's very much aimed at the DSLR market. You can tell that by the physical format, the affordability, but also it's got a cold shoe on the top and some posts where you can screw in the bracket to put your DSLR on top, and you've got a 1/4 inch to go on the top of your tripod at the bottom. There isn't time code on this, but I guess for DSLR shooters that may not be a deal breaker. Probably the access to the 6 tracks is much more of interest. The other thing is it offers dual channel recording, so you can designate a pair of channels, adjacent pair of channels, where on channel 1 you're recording your audio at normal level, and on channel 2 there's a sort of shadow backup which can be recorded at a lower level just in case of an over taking out your recording. And of course, because it's got 6 channels of recording, you can have 3 channels and 3 dual channel backups, which is quite not bad if you're running a boom and two radios, if anybody does that anymore. But if you're running a boom and 2 radios, then you could have each one of them backed up on a separate track. However, the powering, which is only 4 AA's in quite a nice compartment at the back, the powering 4 AA's are not enough to provide phantom across each of the 6 channels. So if you want to do that, you'll need to plug in auxiliary power on this micro USB socket there, and you'll need at least an amp, I think, to get all 6 mic amps up to speed with phantom power. As for the SSD, it's not in the battery compartment, which it is on some recorders, of course. It's on this, behind this rubber bung thing on here, and that's nothing very fancy about it, but one would hope that the rubber bung will be good enough to keep your SSD card safe from moisture and grit and all that. What I would say is inevitably you're going to break that little strap. There's a little strap that holds it in, but there you are. Be very careful. It's your kit is what I would say to that. There's also camera in and out, which you can route to tracks, and then you can listen to that on the monitoring. And there's also a plug-in power external if you've got a plug-in power microphone there. So what are we to make of this really? Well, I mean, at the price, it's quite startling, I think, is the first thing. But how does it compare with the competition? Well, probably the most direct competition is a Tascam, but I haven't got a Tascam here. What I have got is this, which is the Zoom F4, which goes in the company of this, goes from being a tiny little dinky recorder to being some sort of bulky thing, and certainly more heavy duty. I mean, if I the feel of the Zoom in the hand, the weight, everything about it, cries out an attempt at professionalism. Whereas I think for this, you're accepting that because of the affordability, the build quality isn't going to be as great. However, of course, this does have 6 mic inputs from the get-go, and that may be a very attractive proposition. The Zoom, on the other hand, if we were to go back to the Zoom, has 4 mic inputs, all conventionally arranged along the left-hand side there. And however, 2 things. One, the machine is actually an 8-track recorder. So although you've only got 4 mic inputs or line inputs out of the box, you can record 8. So you can record a full 4 plus your mix. Secondly, if you take away this little cover plate on the back, which I managed to do very easily earlier on, then you reveal a Zoom proprietary connector into which you can plug any number of the Zoom microphones, of which there are quite a few different types available. But you can also plug in an adapter that allows you 2 extra channels. Now that is going to be an attractive proposition if you want to take it up to 6 channels. But there's still a little bit of a drop off because those channels you'll have to set the levels in the software. You don't have an encoder dedicated on the front panel to 5 and 6, whereas of course back on the Marantz you do get an encoder for every channel. However, if you are thinking about mixing, the business of mixing in software would be an issue because you can only mix within the menus on this to send to your mix, whereas on the Zoom you can select your encoders to be trims, i.e. Adjusting the gain directly on the record channel or on the mix send. So there's more flexibility. And of course, the big deal for professionals, the Zoom has timecode in and out and a comprehensive timecode setup. And I mean, if you care about these things, it also has a high-res power, much more professional power setup than the Marantz. However, it's probably, almost twice the price. So if you didn't need those features, or if you really did just want to you don't want to do mixing, you just want to lay down 6 tracks, you want to do that as affordably as possible, in a really lightweight package that isn't going to break the bank, then this really should be on your shopping list. You should have a good look at this and decide whether it's for you. The mic amps are not the quietest in the world. They're not as quiet as the Zoom. The limiters, they're digital limiters, and they're not as good as the digital limiters in the Zoom. The headphone output does get noisy, and at high gains, I really do mean noisy, but that's not affecting your recording, I hasten to add. It's just on the monitoring. So all in all, a fantastic package really for the price. For under £300, you get a 6-track recorder, you get 6 mic channels, and you get 6 rotaries on the front to control them. And that's a bit of a bargain, I think. You will need to use it carefully. Well, I think you will need to take care to make sure you get the very best out of it by working in and around its limitations. But nonetheless, a very welcome addition to our location equipment armory. So that's all for now. Join me again on PPM6 TV on another day. Thanks very much.